first and foremost, it is about time for Kevin to get a love interest. I know the fans are really excited about that coming up. I mean, because TikTok, it's been a couple of years. Oh, girl should have been out of jail, something. So, can you talk to me a little bit about that and seeing that side of Kevin?
I tell you, I'm waiting on her to get out too. I don't want anybody to think that Atwater's forgotten about that experience. You know, that was the first time we saw the show experiment with Black love and what it can feel like. I'm grateful for Christine Swanson and Milana J, you know, for planting that seed long ago because I definitely still reference that experience, even as I, you know, started started with this one as a character and as an artist. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of things that I learned from that, and a lot of things that Atwater learned from that naturally. And so hopefully you can tell that he's trying to make better decisions. Um, and it feels a little different, even though in a lot of moments it does feel the same, you know, because of the case that we have to navigate through. Um, but yeah, I'm very excited about it because I think LaRoyce Hawkins and Atwater have grown since then.
So, you're from Harvey. How did growing up in Harvey in the Chicago area help to shape Kevin as a character?
Well, that was the greatest gift that they could have given me, especially as a young actor. It was my first big picnic. You know, I didn't really know how to create a character that people would love and expect, you know, and have positive expectations for weekly. You know, I grew up loving television, falling in love with characters from TV shows and like learning from some of my favorite people on TV. And so I never forget the first time I heard action on Chicago PD, all of that anxiety kind of hit me at the same time a little bit. It was like, oh my God, how do I create a character that people care about all of the time? You know what I mean? Because we got some people, some characters out there who people hate a little bit or just dislike strong enough to be like, I can't wait till that character is gone, or I'm just not feeling that person. And so I just would never have wanted to experience that because I'm sensitive. So yeah, so the way that it's grown has honestly humbled me, shocked me, surprised me in a lot of ways. But it's truly because the original creators told me that my character was from Harvey. And had they not told me that my character was from Harvey, I would have had less confidence walking into this experience because, you know, I wouldn't have had an inherent understanding of who the character is and where the character came from. Naturally, I would have went just as hard if they would have told me that the character was from Burnside or from Inglewood, you know, or from somewhere on Chatham, you know, wherever they would have told me he was from, I would have committed to that. But they gave me Harvey as a gift, which gave me everything I needed on the inside to just be like, oh, I can really be me in a lot of ways. And I can really reference a lot of my own experiences. And I don't have to go find or research other people's experiences and try to, you know, and try to match that thing. I already got it on me. So yeah, so that's what makes Harvey, I think, the biggest blessing for Atwater.
So, speaking of Harvey, home is very important to you. You have a project that you have put together there, your community wall. Can you talk to me about what inspired that for you and what that represents for you, putting that in your community?
Yeah, well, the Harvey World Wall for us was extremely important. You know, if you're familiar with Harvey or you're from there, Harvey World is like the is what we affectionately call our city. And sometimes it can have a very negative connotation behind it, simply because of there's little to no light that really comes from Harvey anymore. You know, there used to be a publication when I was a little homie called the Harvey Star, and I remember that used to end up on my grandfather's front porch all the time. We used to read those newspapers. I remember first time I made the Harvey Star, I was hood famous. You couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the Harvey Star disappeared. And it didn't seem like the light that we once recognized from that that was the beginning of when it really started to disappear. And as I become older and I go back to my city, there are certain things that just don't even happen anymore. Not only do we don't have the Harvey Star, but on certain blocks, the street lights don't even cut on. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, for me, I was like, wow, how do we not just heal the city, find a way to sage, you know, our surroundings, but also like just add balance to this darkness? Because, you know, naturally there's nothing you can do overnight. But if you can start adding balance in certain pockets of the city, you know, if a little kid can walk outside his door, he can see there's a mural. You know, he can see art, something dope and beautiful, and not like a rated sign. You know what I'm saying? Or just trash on the ground. You know what I mean? Like you just start to, you know, that slowly but surely starts to turn into something different for the community. And so the Harvey World Wall is the beginning of that. It's our first shot at adding light. It's not going to be the first wall. We're already looking for where we're going to throw the next muralette. I'm already workshopping artists through the artists that we started with, because I feel like they're like the pioneers of how we were able to produce this. And so I'm going to stick with them for as long as, you know, they can commit. We're going to stay committed to each other and committed to add light to the city. And I'm grateful for the mayor of the city, Mayor Clark, for his commitment and his contribution. Like the whole city was extremely diligent. Restoration Ministries, for allowing us to use their wall. So yeah, it was a team effort from everybody, and I'm just grateful that we were able to put it together.
That's amazing. So, being that you are working so close to home, not a
Mhm.
lot of people get that opportunity to do what they love in this capacity, but still be home. Has that sort of kept you grounded, or is it something that you use to make sure that you sort of stay balanced in all of everything that comes with being on a top show?
Yeah, it definitely has. It definitely has. You know, you don't expect for your dreams to happen or to come true in your backyard the way they have for me. Every time I thought about, you know, my gift taking me somewhere, it was always somewhere else. You know, you think you got to move to LA, or you think you got to go to New York, or just anywhere but where you're from. And I'm just grateful for how it worked out for me, because I do feel preserved from certain parts of the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Certain parts of the industry that can get a little tricky. I feel protected by the friends and close family that I have here, um, because you know it's hard to not remain humble when you still gotta get your mail from your grandma's house.
Right.
when you know you can run into people who you've known for years, who know you differently than the world might know you. You know what I'm saying? I still owe people money for the first few seasons. You know what I mean? And so it was like you just walk a little bit differently when you're at home, but it's definitely a confidence and a humility at the same time that I've done my best to really ride that line.
So, in wrapping up, I want to know, what is the moment that made you realize that acting was the career choice for you?
Um, hmm. The moment for me, because you know, it's it's a few things in the bag, Jill. You know what I mean? And I knew that acting was the bread and butter. I think when I got my first show, The Express, when it happened right here. You know, I went to college to study acting as a young comedian. You know, I had my own band. I had a Ray Charles experience. You know, so like from tribute bands to spoken word poetry, hosting baby showers and bachelorette parties, and then like acting happens. And when I saw that the way it truly provided for my family, I was like, oh, I feed my family like this, you know, because it was always what kind of supported slash financed everything else, if that makes sense. And acting never gave up on me, as because it's honestly a lot more difficult than everything else. Um, as far as the grace that it gives you to grow into the art of acting, you know. And I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the patience that my castmates and the directors, you know, like when I think about the Eric LaSalle's, I think about Jason Begay, Michael T. Williamson, who's come in and just taught me so much, Wendell Pierce, you know what I mean? Like, I learned a little bit more from acting every day, you know? And so that's the part that excites me about it. And that's why I'm glad, you know, it puts me in a position to feed my family as well.